around for a moment. Then I saw her, the beautiful clown. She looked at me and winked. Screw this shit. I'm out of here. I'm headed for the exit, I thought. I turned away from the beautiful clown, but she was standing right in front of me. Going somewhere, E.T.? You just got here, the beautiful clown said. You're not real. I made you up. Nevermore doesn't exist. It is just a figment of my imagination, I said. Sorry to disappoint you, E.T. brother, but I'm real. I do exist. Nevermore is also real. By the way, you aren't in control anymore. You are being written out of the story. Sorry to be the bearer of bad news, but you are being replaced, the beautiful clown said. Hold on just a damn minute. I'm being replaced? I can't be replaced. I'm the one writing the damn stories, I said. Wrong. You used to write the stories, but the voices voted you out. They decided by unanimous decision to replace you. They are dissatisfied with the note that you wrote to them recently. So they decided to make Ben Hill the official writer from now on. They are getting rid of you, so they have put you in Nevermore, the beautiful clown said. Hold on a minute. They can't vote me the hell out. They don't even exist. The voices are just in my head. They are imaginary. They can't vote me the hell out, I said. It's done. You're out, and Ben is in, the beautiful clown said. Ben is a damn psycho. He's locked up for a reason. He doesn't get along well with others. He's antisocial. He needs to remain locked up, not be put in charge, I said. Sorry, but it is what it is. Time for your nightmare to begin. So long, E.T. brother, the beautiful clown said. Then she vanished. I looked around. The racetrack was gone. I was standing next to a river. A cold chill ran through me. I knew exactly where I was. I had been here before, in my mind. I didn't need to look at the sign that was just a little ways away to know that it read, Nevermore. I was trapped in the land of Nevermore, a place of my own creation, a place that I had been to many times before in my mind. I heard a man scream. He was a ways away from me, but I knew I was in Nevermore. I looked around, didn't see any creatures, but I felt watched. I knew they were close by. I took a few deep breaths, thought about the predicament I was in, and tried to figure a way out. After thinking about it for a moment, I realized I would have to find the box if I ever expected to escape Nevermore. That was the only way out. The problem with that, though, was I had no damn clue where the box was, since I had never finished writing that particular story. I stayed where I was for a moment, then heard something that turned my blood cold. At least that's what it felt like. A cold chill ran through me. It was as if my blood had turned to ice water. I heard a train. It was close. I knew where it was. The train was above me, in the air, and it was coming my way fast. I wanted nothing to do with the train. I knew what it was filled with. I had no interest in meeting up with the beast from that train and becoming their snack. None at all. I quickly turned and began to walk. I had no clue where I was going or what lay ahead because I'd never been this way before in any of my stories. The characters had always followed the river in the other direction. I knew some of the things that waited for me that direction, and I had no intention of meeting them in person. Well, I used to know what waited for me in that direction, But if Ben Hill was in charge of the story now, then all bets were off. Ben likes blood and guts kinds of stories. He is a twisted freak, so I had no interest in seeing my blood and guts on the outside of my body. I meant to keep them inside of my body, if I could help it. Part 2. As I walked away from the river, I began to hear a noise. The noise was faint at first, but as I continued to walk, the noise began to get louder. It was a scraping noise. I stopped walking and listened. I couldn't see much. It was pretty dark, but I could tell whatever was making the noise was very close by. As I stood listening, the noise got louder. Whatever was making the noise was getting closer by the second. I looked around. There was a tree nearby. I walked to it and hid behind it. I began to wait. I didn't have to wait long to find out what the noise was. A beast walked into view. It was human in size, but that was the only thing that looked human about it. The beast had long arms, long fingers with claws. Its head was much bigger than a human head. It reminded me of a gray alien head that you see in pictures. The thing's body was pale white. Its eyes were solid black, and it had a mouthful of sharp fangs. The creature was dragging a big axe behind it. That was what the scraping noise had been. The axe head was big. I eased around the tree to make sure I was out of sight, and the scraping noise stopped. I peeked around the tree and screamed out in shock and surprise. The creature was standing next to the tree, looking at me. It rushed around the tree, raised the axe, and swung it. I ducked. The axe head whistled over my head and hit the tree. I felt the air from the axe head as it passed overhead. I think it actually shaved some of the hair off of the top of my head. I took off running. I didn't need a haircut, and if I was going to get a haircut, it wasn't going to be by this freak. I didn't want to find out what this creature's definition of a little off the top was. Its definition was probably scalping or decapitation, and I'm not into either one of those things. I like my head just as it is, attached to my body. I ran away, heard the creature struggling to get the axe loose. I was glad the axe head went deep into the tree because it allowed me to escape. After a while, I stopped running and began to catch my breath. As I was bent over, catching my breath, I began to hear an odd noise. It was a rattling noise, then a thumping noise. I couldn't identify it, and I couldn't see anything that was making the noise. The noises seemed to be getting louder. I looked around for a place to hide. There was a big rock nearby. I rushed over to the rock, got behind it, then saw movement up the path that I had just been following. A beast was coming down the path. It was green and scaly, with horns on its head. The beast was wearing a strange necklace. I had to stare at it for a moment to figure out what it was made of. It finally came to me. The necklace was made of human finger bones. The beast had a walking stick. That was what the thumping noise was. After a moment, I realized the walking stick wasn't a stick at all. It was made of human bones. The beast was dragging something with its other hand, which wasn't really a hand at all, but more like claws. The beast was dragging a big black bag, like a body bag. The rattling was coming from inside the bag. As I listened to the noise, I realized what it was. Bones were making that noise. Bones hitting together. I eased around the rock further to get out of sight of the beast. It continued to come down the path. It didn't seem to be aware of me, and I wanted to keep it that way. As I waited, I heard a man scream. The scream was very close by. I peeked around the rock. There was a man trying to get away from the beast, but the beast had his foot. The beast let go of the bag and dragged the man to itself. The man was screaming. The beast was laughing. The laugh was an evil laugh. As I watched, the beast grabbed the man's other foot, jerked the man off the ground, then jerked his feet apart. The man screamed for a second. Then his scream cut off in mid-scream. I watched in horror as the beast ripped the man apart. Blood sprayed everywhere. The man's guts and inside fell to the ground with a plop. The beast began to rip the flesh off the man's bones and eat the flesh raw. When the beast was done with the bone, it would put it in the bag, then grab another to strip the flesh off. I had to put my hand over my mouth to stifle a scream and keep from being sick. I put my other hand on the rock that I was standing behind and heard a man's voice. "Take your hand off my face. You're hurting me," the voice said. I looked down. There was a face in the rock. I had my hand on it. I hollered out, jumped back, and hollered out again. The face in the rock was alive. It looked human. It was looking right at me. "You better run unless you want to die," the face said. I heard a beast roar. I looked. The beast was looking my way. Oh shit, I thought. I turned and began to run. The beast roared again, and I heard it running. I glanced over my shoulder. It was coming after me, and it was grinning. The grin revealed a mouthful of sharp fangs. I turned and began to run even faster. The beast seemed to be running faster as well. The noise was much louder. I ran for several minutes, sure the beast would catch me at any moment. Then I heard a woman scream. I looked back over my shoulder. The beast had caught a woman. I thought about going back, but before I could do a thing, the beast ripped her apart. I turned my head and ran as fast as I could. I was running away from the noise as fast as I could go. I couldn't do a thing for the woman. She was already dead. Part 3. When I got too tired to run, I stopped and began to get my breath back. I no longer heard the beast. I looked all around, but didn't see a thing. After I got my breath back, I stood up and began to walk. I needed to find my way out of Nevermore, and I needed to find it soon. I was fine for the time being, but I wouldn't be able to handle all this running around in terror for much longer. As I walked, I began to hear a noise behind me. It was very low, as if it was a long ways away. I stopped, listened, but didn't hear it again. After a moment, I began walking again. The noise came to me again. It was a little louder, but I still couldn't make it out. I stopped walking, listened, but didn't hear the noise again. After a few moments, I began to walk again, and I decided to pick the pace up, just to be on the safe side. I heard the noise again. It was louder, and I was finally able to identify it. It was a growl. A cold chill ran through me. I didn't want to meet whatever was growling like that. It sounded big. I began to walk even faster. The growl was close, Too damn close.